Hello, welcome to News Panorama, coming to you live from NTA Network Center, Jos. INEC advises winners of 2023 general elections to ensure prompt delivery of democracy dividends to citizens. Egg glut. Plateau government takes steps to address plight of poultry farmers. State government partners non-governmental organizations on tuberculosis control. I am Felicia Dalio Samaila. Do remember you can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live, on YouTube channel NTA News Online, and on our other platforms displayed on your screen. Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State is reassuring Nigerians that under President Buhari's watch, the reported plans by anti-democratic forces to scatter the nation's transition program to the next administration will not work. This was while speaking with journalists after an audience with the president. Adamu Sambo reports.
This is the first formal engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Plateau State Governor since the successful conduct of the last general elections. Governor Lalong, Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, that delivered Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect. To him, the reported plans by some forces to scuttle the transition program to the next administration is laughable.
Nigerians will always say, God forbid that. Not under the administration of President Buhari, who has been saying it every time, that I believe in democracy. I believe that after my tenure, I want to go and rest. He said it today, that I'm going back to Daura. And I told him that, yes, some of us will still disturb you in Daura. This man has worked very well for democracy. So those who are still talking about it, I will say they are just dreaming. They are just doing daydreaming. By the grace of God, President Buhari is going to bring a successor, and that successor is already Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Governor Lalong used the opportunity to express absolute confidence in the ability of the Tinubu-Shettima administration when inaugurated to sustain the legacies of the Buhari presidency and take Nigeria to greater heights.
In the first 2 years, you will see a lot of things. This is a promise by APC under President Muhammadu Buhari. This is a promise that we went around all the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. We told them that this is the changes you are going to see, and people are expecting those changes. He said it in Lagos, and he did it. He is a talk and do president.
The Plateau State Governor was in the State House to formally invite President Buhari to Plateau State for the inauguration of his administration's legacy projects. 6
model hospitals, 6 model secondary schools, and 6 model primary schools. Apart from that, many of the abandoned projects left by my predecessors, I completed them. One of it is a giant British America overhead bridge. The best high court, I am very proud of that. As a lawyer, the best high court in the north is in Jos now, waiting for commissioning.
No confirmation yet as to whether or not President Buhari has accepted the invitation. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The advisory role of elder statesmen in nation building is pivotal to the overall development of the country, as it also serves as a beacon of hope for all and sundry. Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima gave this indication in an interview with newsmen after his visit to 2 former head of states, General Ibrahim Babangida and Abdusalami Abubakar in Mina. Husseina Musa reports.
The visit to Mina, the Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima said was to pay homage and interact with the elder statesmen, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida and General Abdusalami Abubakar.
They are the beacons of hope and will continue to tap from their wealth of experience and exposure. They have a lot to offer the nation and humanity.
He also took time off to speak on what the people of Niger State should expect from the incoming administration.
There will be a new lease of life in Niger State by God's grace. You might as well call me a son of Niger. there is no cause for any apprehension, will adequately and aggressively address the challenges of the largest state in Nigeria.
The Vice President-elect and his entourage also visited the Emir of Mina, Umar Faruk Bahabu, at his palace, where he prayed for a smooth transition and for God to grant them wisdom as they set to pilot the affairs of the country. In Mina, Hussein Musa, NTA News.
Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Faruk Yahaya says the Nigerian Army is consolidating its gains in training and retraining of personnel in tune with global best practices for optimum performance to meet contemporary requirements of modern warfare. Suleiman Rigachukum reports that the Chief of Army Staff said this during the inauguration of training facilities at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji.
Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, have continued to achieve feats in the training of middle cadre personnel of the tri-service military institutions responsible for national defense and security.
This edifice will also support the activities of the entire college.
Numerical strength and peculiar training requirement of the Nigerian Army personnel enrolled for junior and senior courses in the Armed Forces Command and Staff College informed the provision of the additional digitized auditorium named after the Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Faruk Yahaya, for enhanced training of students at the college.
A lot of emphasis is placed on training, so anything we can do to improve training in terms of training facilities, in terms of instructors, in terms of equipment, in terms of facilities and welfare and well-being of the instructors and the entire staff of the Army, we will.
The Army Chief, Lieutenant General Faruk Yahaya, also charged officers and soldiers in commands and institutions of the Nigerian Army to intensify commitment in their assigned responsibility of national defense and peace maintenance in Nigeria. Suleiman Rigachkun, NTA News.
Independent National Electoral Commission is asking winners of the 2023 general elections to justify their mandates by responding to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. This was while presenting certificates of return to the governor-elect, his deputy, and members of the State Assembly in Jos. Grace Akwekotip has details.
Presenting certificates of return to winners of the 2023 governorship and State Assembly elections, National Commissioner Malam Mohammed Kudu Haruna and Resident Electoral Commissioner Plateau State, Dr. Oliver Teso Agundu, commended staff of the Commission for hard work and commitment towards successful conduct of the polls. They advised them to ensure prompt delivery of democracy dividends to people of the state, adding that good governance should be their watchword.
We are here now to issue you this certificate of return because the law says so that within 2 weeks of the declaration we have to issue you. All of you are here today because of the transparent process and a responsible electoral management. I therefore join you and also challenge you today to ensure at all times that the government of Plateau State under your watch is conducted and anchored on transparency and responsibility to the people.
Governor-elect Caleb Mutfang, who was visibly happy, expressed appreciation to people of the state for giving him the mandate to serve them.
Together with my members elected in the House of Assembly, I want us to join hands together and know that this is for Plateau, this is about Plateau, and that through us and by us, Plateau will become great again.
Out of the 24 assembly members, 4 were re-elected. In Jos, Grace Akwegotip, NTA News.
The Nigeria Film Corporation says it is partnering domestic and foreign support programs to have a vibrant audiovisual economy driven by digital creativity. The Managing Director and Chief Executive of the corporation, Dr. Chidia Maduekwe, says this in Jos when the Cultural Affairs Office of the U.S. Embassy visited management of the corporation. Ijoma Ozemena has more.
The managing director notes that the Nigerian Film Corporation and the United States Embassy had earlier shared a passion of developing a robust collaborative partnership which will provide the needed nexus to commence new joint programs and projects that will lead to sustainable inter-country relationship. In view of this, it is desirous to have the U.S. Embassy, through its cultural office, access the cooperation to USA film studios and studio schools for institutional capacity development in the 6 geopolitical film zones of the country for entrepreneurial training. The managing director, Dr. Madrigo, says he is optimistic that the opportunities will assist the film corporation to deliver on their mandate holistically while developing the Nigerian film industry.
Nigeria, our determination to elevate Nollywood to that pedestal where its contribution to Nigerian development will become a global reference is not in doubt.
The Cultural Affairs Officer, Julia McKay, explains that the United States of America has provided opportunities for entrepreneurship filmmaking, scholarship schemes, among other exchange programs.
We'd like to see a stronger partnership between the creative industries here in Nigeria and the United States. We think it will be mutually beneficial. We are here to promote opportunities for young people through our exchange programs, and we also came to open a rock art exhibit at the National Museum.
The management of the Nigerian Film Corporation took the team to the production unit of the corporation and other operational areas. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemena, NTA News.
And on other news, the fact of incremental negative perception about African countries propagated by the international media, African broadcasters are building new partnerships to promote the telling of African stories in ways that reflect the true African perspective. At the first Turkey Radio, Television and African Union of Broadcasting Summit ongoing in Istanbul, Turkey, media executives and journalists are exchanging ideas on the correct representation of Africa to the global community. Onenge Fineface reports.
Stories about Africa in the international media have always been about negatives, portraying hunger, war, violence, and other unsavory issues. But there are a lot more about Africa than these. There are beauty, culture, education, advancement in technology, and others.
Africans need to tell their own story in their own way, because nobody knows your story more than you. So it is only natural, it's only the right thing to do for us to tell our stories in our own way. If you look at the Western media or other media, internet, some people outside Africa, what do they know about Africa are negative things. But we know there are a lot of positive issues to report in Africa.
The media in Africa is therefore expected to tell these unique African stories, a task being promoted by the African Union of Broadcasting in partnership with Turkey Radio Television.
One of the main themes today is we want to challenge this status quo, and we want to discuss how we can break this hegemony that exists in the media itself. And we talk about the global media, especially media in the global south.
We have TRT Africa, and we believe that we have to diversify our relation with every people in the world who can contribute to build this continent.
But now we need to get into partnerships that can make us do things that would be a win-win. That is, in as much as we want to consume Turkish content, we should be able to make sure that they too can consume Cameroonian content.
This meeting of broadcasters across Africa with their Turkish counterparts is building capacity on telling African stories from the African perspective.
Coming in of TRT Africa, we hope that the African voice will be more amplified, and we hope that African stories will be told in a positive way.
Especially this summit that TRT has actually organized, which is, I think, is going to go a long way in helping African countries exchange or share best practices as far as the journalism profession is concerned.
The TRT AUB First Broadcasting Summit precedes the launch of the TRT Africa service in Istanbul, Turkey. Onenge Fineface, NTA News. Fineface, NTA News.
To cushion the hardship being faced by poultry farmers in Plateau State as a result of egg glut, Plateau State government is intervening by mopping up eggs of poultry farmers to enable them bounce back to business. Saadatu Mohammed Kafa was at the Secretariat of Poultry Association of Nigeria, venue of the exercise.
Recently, poultry farmers in Plateau State recorded huge losses due to egg glut, forcing some of the farmers out of business. This necessitated the state government through the Ministry of Agriculture to address the situation by mopping out large number of eggs to orphanages, correctional center, schools and hospitals across the state. Governor Simon Lalong, who was represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Danladi Abok-Atu, notes that egg business is a thriving enterprise and a source of income and sustenance for many in the state, hence the need for the intervention. The Chairman and Public Relations Officer, Poultry Association of Nigeria, Plateau State Chapter, commends state government and appealed for more intervention and collaboration between school feeding program and poultry farmers in the state to prevent future loss.
I'm overwhelmed, and I'm very, very happy for the effort the state government has done towards alleviating our suffering.
They didn't just intervene to the farmers to have impacted the public, the general public, especially the nutritive part of the egg that's being given to the public. It's a commendable one. They did their very best, and our desire is that the program is sustainable.
Beneficiaries lauded the efforts of poultry farmers and government for the gesture.
Are going to be happy. It's going to help to ease the nutritional value in our children's lives.
The mop-up is in 3 phases. In Jos, Saadatu Mohammed Kafa, NTA News.
And to shed more light on the situation of egg glut in the state, we have in the studio Professor Danladi Atu. He is the Secretary to the Government of Plateau State. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you join us on Panorama.
My pleasure. Welcome, viewers.
All right, sir. Egg glut has been a major or has remained a major challenge to poultry farmers in the state. Yeah. What is government doing to remedy the situation?
Right, thank you. You are aware that Plateau State has a comparative advantage on a number of products, particularly agro products. One of them is, of course, poultry farming. Mm-hmm. And our weather gives us place on a kind of comparative advantage. And of course, given the intervention of government and support of government and other agencies like the CBN and other financial institutions, you will notice that Plateau States have taken advantage of this. And it is glad to note that for every 10 families on the plateau, at least one is a poultry farmer. Mm-hmm. What that means is that it's a very crucial agro SME businesses on the plateau. And the advantage, of course, is the fact that it's taken away so many people out of the streets on account of unemployment. Number 2 is the fact that it's increasing the economy of the citizens of Plateau State. And number 3, of course, is a source of revenue for government as well. Now, given that, when the state found itself into a glut, just like other parts of the country, that of Plateau State became worse because the farmers are more or less micro at that level, mm-hmm. because the fact that you found out that retired families are into poultry, you find that even the aged are into it. Young people are imbibing that too. So what that means is that with the presence of glut, it means that we now have surplus of eggs unattended to, without channels of sales. So what that means too is the fact that they will be rendered out of business. And you will notice that about 25% of citizens of Nigeria, of Plateau State, will be out of business. So what the state government have decided to do is to adopt a 3-pronged approach. One is the immediate one, and the other one is the intermediate one. Of course, one is a lasting solution to it. The immediate one is to help mop up these surplus eggs. And so far, the mopping started with the most vulnerable ones. like those who have between 500 beds to 1,000 beds. And then there are those again between, they have about just 100 to 200. Now these are the most vulnerable ones because they just live on it. Now we have moved that one up, and the first phase we did was to move about 120,000 crates of that we've done now. Now this is the immediate intervention. Now that immediate intervention will now at least to make them be on the business to start all over again. Now the second intervention is for us to have a cohesive and broad-based, robust statistics, because at the moment we have no statistics about the rate of production per day. Now we've strengthened that with the Director Minister of Agri to create a special department on that, so as to give us correct data about the production, the rate of production, the rate of losses, and so on and so forth. That will now help us to plan better. Now, for instance, if we project that in the coming year, 2024, we're likely going to have a surplus about 1 million or maybe, or let's say 3 or 4 tons per month of eggs, then we now know, okay, what is the availability of the market? How do we plan to take off that from the farmers, to take the surplus from the farmers? So in that way, we'll plan ahead in such a way that we don't engulf ourselves into the glut as we are facing this time. So that issue of projections and proper planning is one measure we have adopted. Now the third measure that we're adopting is for us to liaise and create more windows of consumption. Windows of consumption will now mean that we now liaise with those factories and industries that utilize the eggs for their productions. That is lacking. That chain is lacking on the plateau. So we are trying to do that one to create that robust partnership with the producers and the consumers in that way. But as it is now, largely the consumers are those who are the local consumption, and the eggs we are produced on the plateau is beyond local consumption. So we are trying to do to open up more channels of consumption where our excess eggs can be utilized in the industries and that. So we are trying to do that one in conjunction with CBN. Recall when we flagged up that CBN was there, and they're equally working on that to create windows of consumption, external consumption in that order. So these are the 3 major strategies we put in place so as to not to have this ugly experience we are having at the moment.
Okay, I'm sure all these that you have put in place is not without challenges. Yeah. What were some of the challenges? Were the poultry farmers or are the poultry farmers complying to this?
Yes, I must say that I must commend the efforts of the association. The association is giving us maximum cooperation in that regard. Number 2 is the fact that most of the farmers are not knowledgeable about poultry production and management. I think what the association needs to do is to equally have put in place measures of in-house training, so to equip them as to how to manage the eggs themselves. Don't forget, Plateau State has a comparative advantage of the fact that our eggs are durable. Now, how to store them and that is another issue. There's a situation where they heat it on another and the heat comes and those are ground get spoiled. So by the time that if you can, Plateau egg can stay up to 4 weeks. Now what that means is that it gives room for us to plan better and then move them out to other states. And other states, as reported, prefer to buy Plateau eggs because the shell is stronger.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, sir. I have been speaking with Professor Aladi Atu, Secretary to the Government of Plateau State. Thank you so much, sir. We'll take a break. Panorama continues shortly.
Urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Okay, that's the much we can take on Panorama today. Do remember to be a star. Join NTA in the fight against rape and rapists. Many thanks for watching.